That Rumble had me. Whew, that was God, man. I don't even have an answer for that. That's just. I was this close, that close, okay, to about snapping. That close to snapping. I snapped a few times regardless, but it was about to be bad. That's all I can say. It was about to be bad. So we're before I just blow up and rant on the whole Rumble match, let's start at the beginning, so we can give you all the results that you want to hear. Pre-show matches: Nia Jax pinned Banks after a Samoa drop. Faces beat heels in the women's tag team match, and Gallows and Anderson actually won the tag titles. The reason I'm not going to go over those is because A, it was the pre-show, B, no one gives a shit, and the fact that Gallows and Anderson won the titles is surprising to me, because Gallows and Anderson haven't been successful doing anything for the entire time they've been there, and they beat Sheamus and Cesaro, which was a genuine surprise in my mind, but, you know, it is what it is, and we're not going to debate that. So, you know, congrats to the club. They actually accomplished something. Unfortunately, we'll get into more of that later. But Gallows and Anderson are your new Raw Tag Team Champions. The women's match was the Nia Jax match was it was an advanced squash match. So we'll go to the main show. Starts off with a women's titles match. We have Charlotte versus Bayley. Apparently, WWE's golden commentator Michael Cole forgot that the WWE title was up for grabs twice, because they were talking about a lot of things. They were talking about how Charlotte's father, Ric Flair, won the title in 2002, and he basically phrased it as, only one time has the WWE Championship been on the line in the Royal Rumble, and that was in 1992 when Ric Flair did it. Somehow he forgot that it happened last year. So, whatever. We'll leave it at that. This match was not super high-flyy like it was when we had Banks and Charlotte in these matches. There was a lot more mat wrestling, a lot more holds and whatnot, and it was actually it was a nice match. There was some high spots, you know. Charlotte did her moonsault and whatnot, but in the grand scheme of things, it was actually a better paced match. It wasn't a great match. I'm going to make this perfectly clear. It wasn't a fantastic match. The crowd was kind of into it. They really weren't. I'm going to say right now, the crowd was, they were 50-50 most of the night. So, but overall, the match was okay. It wasn't horrible. Charlotte at some point busted her mouth open. I believe it was from the face buster that Bayley had given her at one point. So she was bleeding from the mouth for probably the last half of the match. But eventually she actually hits Bayley with a natural selection on the apron, on the side apron on the other side of the ropes. And then rolls her back towards the middle of the ring, pins her 1, 2, 3. These apron spots are starting to become more and more frequent. Seems like at least every night there's some type of an apron spot. This was really the only one in the entire match. But nonetheless, you know, Charlotte wins, and she wins on natural selection. And, you know, Bayley was fairly competitive, so I do expect her to eventually one-up Charlotte at WrestleMania. Fastlane's probably going to involve Nia Jax, I would imagine. I don't know. We'll see. Time has to progress, and we'll find that out later. Next match, surprisingly enough, I figured this would be on a lot later, but it wasn't. The Universal title match between Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns, with Chris Jericho in a shark cage. This match had some fantastic spots, but also pissed me off the most. First, before the match even started, Jericho and Owens attacked Reigns before the match started. You know, classic heel tactics. Obviously, Reigns got the upper hand, and then eventually got Jericho into the cage, locked up. He went up. After that, there was a little fighting. Reigns and Owens eventually start to fight through the crowd. Reigns hits him with one of those posts, those corral posts they use at wherever the hell you go. It has corral posts. Eventually, they make their way back around to the ring. Let's see, there's some other spots that happen. See, Owens actually dominated the match for a good portion of it. Actually, once they came back from going around the arena, he actually had the upper hand for a while. So he was actually getting the better of Roman Reigns there for a little bit. That was surprising to me. But then again, at the same time, usually if somebody's getting the upper hand most of the match, they usually lose, especially in a title match, especially with heels. But he did sit there and have the upper hand for a while. Eventually, he ended up making a tower of chairs and attempted to powerbomb him through it from the apron. Obviously, that didn't go. I mean, this was like you had 4 chairs, then 2 chairs, then 1 chair, and it's just a little like erector set of chairs. It looked nasty as shit. I actually assumed somebody was eventually going to go through it. I was expecting Owens to go through it because I know Reigns ain't going to take that kind of a bump. But of course, the crowd booed once Reigns kicked out of getting thrown through that erector set, and he was not happy about it. But you know, Reigns is not going to take that kind of spot. It's ridiculous. During this match, Cole finally remembered last year's Rumble, so he apparently corrected himself for making that flub earlier in the night, pointing out that Reigns actually defended his title in the Rumble last year. There's a beautiful, beautiful frog splash from Kevin Owens to Roman Reigns that was on the outside while he's up on a table. It was beautiful. Beautiful. And, of course, you know, Owens rolls him in right after that. 1-2 kick out. Reigns got a kick out of getting a frog splash through a table on the outside. Oh, it gets better than that. William Regal would be proud of Jericho. Jericho brought in a set of brass knucks. Toss him down to Owens, who is down on the mat. Owens takes it, attempts to go for a Superman punch, misses. Reigns manages to get a grab of his arm. He tried to take the knucks off. Owens got back off of him. Punch straight in the jaw. Instant cover. 1-2. Kick out! Reigns kicked out of a brass knuckle punch. Nobody kicks out of a brass knuckle punch. Except for Roman Reigns. I guarantee you John Cena got hit with a pair of brass knucks. He probably wouldn't kick out. Probably wouldn't. But Roman Reigns did. And then it gets better. Owens hits him with a stunner. The stunner. One of the most protected finishers in all WWE. Kicks out of that. I mean, dude kicks out of everything during this match. Pisses me off so bad. Killed the match. Killed the match. The match was okay until Reigns kicked out of everything. Kicks out of a table spot. Kicks out of getting hit with a pair of brass knucks. Kicks out of getting fucking stunnered. Getting a stunner. You could probably shoot him in the face. He'd probably kick the fuck out. It's just this. It's ridiculous. It really is, and it's like, come on. You've got to make me believe that he's actually capable of being injured. And it's going to get worse as this review goes on, trust me. So, anyway, eventually Reigns gets the upper hand and powerbombs him through the table, rolls him into the ring intending to pin him. And I guarantee you, had the next instance not happened, probably would have got the pin after powerbombing him through the announcer's table. Oh, I'm sorry. I completely skipped this. Owens ends up getting thrown into his erector set. His erector set of chairs. And then after that, literally right after that, mind you, Owens is probably out cold at this point. Reigns decides right after that to powerbomb him through the announcer's table. Right after. Owens is essentially dead at this point. Rolls him in the ring. Thankfully, Strowman shows up. Sits here and chokeslams him onto a table. I swear Roman Reigns got a concussion because it looked like he hit the back of the monitor or the back of his head. I don't know. Maybe he did. We'll find out later. Chokeslams him on the announcer's table. Announcer's table doesn't give. Reigns had propped up a table in the corner earlier in the match. Strowman throws him in the ring and then power slams him through the table that's set up in the corner. Walks out. And then Owens rolls over. Pins Owens 1, 2, 3. Thankfully. And Owens retains, of course. Looks cheap as hell again because he looks weak as shit because he can't effectively win without having somebody have a massive effect on this match. Surprise, surprise. So, it is what it is. Then they go over some facts. They had done this during the pre-show. They gave us 15 to 30 facts well, they're going to do 30. They did from 30 up to 15 during the pre-show, and they said, oh, we'll do the other 15 later. And then apparently we get onto the regular show. We have to go over those same 15 a second time. And eventually we get the last 15 right before the Rumble, but that's not my point. But, you know, just, come on, consistency. I mean, yeah, I know a lot of people didn't watch the pre-show, but unfortunately I did. And I'd like a little bit of consistency, a little bit of credit for the people that watched, but fuck it, I don't care. It's a minor thing. Then we see Sami Zayn go to the back to draw his number for the Rumble. Dean Ambrose also shows up. Sami Zayn ends up pulling number 8. I think they missed the boat on giving him the Iron Man on this. We'll discuss that during the Rumble match by having him out, in the early stages. But he came out number 8. He did last a while. We will get into that. But he draws number 8. Dean Ambrose draws the number, but he doesn't reveal what it is. So whatever. After that, we actually go ahead and get into the Swan Neville matchup. I actually expected Swan to win this match just because I was like, I want to see a little more credibility. But as long as what happens beyond this point, now I'm getting ahead of that. But there's some pretty good spots. The crowd really wasn't in this match either, just like they weren't really in the women's match all that much. Beautiful middle drop kick from to Swan off the top rope, or missile. I said middle. Neville hit a very, very violent-looking missile drop kick to Swan. I mean, he had his legs bent, so right before it came to boom, just extended his legs, and it just looked like a shot right in Swan's chest for a 2 count. Another nice spot. Nice little super kick to Neville off of the top rope. Neville was diving off the top rope. Swan hit him with a nice looking super kick, square in the jaw when he's coming down. Hits him for another 2 count. And then there was also a nice little flip, a 450, essentially a 450 rotating flip that he does to Neville to the outside, which was nice. Neville eventually ends up winning this match. I'm hoping that Neville actually holds the title for a little bit, because we don't need to have these constant changes every couple months. It actually doesn't help the title all that much. And especially with a new title, you need to build a lot of prestige with it. So usually the first or second holder needs to hold it for a little bit just to kind of build up its credibility. So hopefully Neville will hold this for hopefully into the summer, at least, I would think. I mean, I expect Austin Aries to show up probably sometime next month. And then, if Austin Aries wants to turn face, that'd be nice. But, we can't make these kinds of decisions. But hopefully Neville will hold this title at least into the summer, because it needs more credibility. Once that happened, we finally get to the point where we're either going to have the Rumble last, or we're going to have the WWE title match last. And thankfully the Rumble was last, because that's going to put in a hell of a lot less expectability in that match. Thankfully, the WWE Championship went on next. Although one thing I want to point out that kind of happened earlier on is at this point I had noticed that SmackDown only had 2 matches on this card, and this is including the pre-show, because they had the 6-woman tag match and then the WWE Championship match. Because you got to figure, the Nia Jax match was a Raw match, the tag title match was a Raw match, the Women's Championship match was a Raw match, technically the Cruiserweight match is a Raw match, even though they go on 205 Live and it's after SmackDown. That pretty much qualifies as a Raw match. Regardless. Excuse me. Technically qualifies as a Raw match, however the hell you want to look at it. And then you have the Universal title match. So Raw was heavy on their matches tonight, surprisingly enough. But it is what it is. It's not really all that crazy. So we go ahead and we get into the Cena Styles match. During the promo footage, I loved how the only footage they have of Styles pre-WWE is like pre-TNA when he was in WCW, and that was like when he was like new. Honestly, it's like you see Styles when he's like in his early 20s, and it's like boom, we come. It's like here's AJ Styles now. He's been on the Indies all these years. He was in WCW, and then there's this big gap where he was gone, and then boom, he shows up at the Rumble last year. It's like okay, but whatever. Throughout this match, this was match of the night, just so you know, because we'll get to why the Rumble was not the match of the night when we get to it. Although I got so annoyed with Otunga's fucking commentary on this match. Every 2 minutes, it seems like he had to sit here and tell us about how great Cena looked, how great his physique looked. You should see the vein on his shoulder pop up. That means he's getting ready. And it's like, look at it flex. Oh my God. I swear to God. He probably had a heart under to that desk the entire time watching this match. Every 2 minutes, we had to sit here and we had to ogle, apparently. He's telling us we have to ogle the presence of the physique of John Cena. Fuck you, Otunga. Cena did wrestle with some heel tendencies tonight. Not a lot, just, you know, little dashes here and there based on what he was doing. I love this one point that I know nobody probably caught. Ronaldo called Cena's submission the STFU. Has not been called that in years, because his old name for the attitude adjustment was the FU, or the fuck you, or the STFU, the shut the fuck up. That's how they were called back when he was a heel. And I liked how Ronaldo somehow snuck that in. I don't know if he stuck that in intentionally, if he let it slip, or if it was intentional. I don't know. But it was the STFU that he put on Styles at one point in the match. I forget exactly when it was. I believe it was during the submission trades that they were doing. We had the calf crusher, which got turned into a STFU, which also then got reverted back into a calf crusher, which also got reverted into a figure four, which got reverted into Styles giving Cena the STF. And, you know, it was a nice little 2-minute segment where we had all these submissions kind of getting thrown back and forth. Lots of near falls, very competitive match. Cena kicked out of 2 Styles clashes and a phenomenal forearm. Styles kicked out of 4 AAs. 4 different AAs. So Styles did not look weak at all in this match. He had to take a lot of shit from Cena. I mean, a lot. I mean, he did a sunset flip fucking powerbomb. He hit him with a super AA off of the second, third rope, whatever, however you want to put it. He hit him with that and still kicked out of that. Nobody kicks out of that. Nobody kicks out of multiple AAs. Usually it's like 1. 1 AA, you're done. Maybe 2. Styles kicked out of 4. 4 AAs. One of them being a top rope AA. Well, let me clarify. In the end, John Cena won. He is now your 16-time WWE champion. It took 5 AAs to beat Styles. He hit him with one early in the match. Hit him with a second one later on. He kicked out of that. Not long after that, he hit him with that super AA. He kicked out of that. Eventually, Styles hit him with Styles Clash. Going for phenomenal forearm. Caught him again. Hit him with an AA. Rolled back into him and hit him with a second AA right after that. So it took 5 AAs and a 5-knuckle shuffle and a whole bunch of shit getting pulled out of his bag of tricks that he's almost never done. And he had to do all that to beat Styles. So Styles did not look weak at all. He looked very strong in this match. It took a hell of a lot for him to beat him. So I'm expecting the Elimination Chamber match to be one hell of a match, which will be in 2 weeks. So, but Styles didn't look weak. This is definitely match of the night. It was fantastic. It was fantastic to watch. Went probably about 30 minutes. I didn't time it, but it felt about like 30 minutes. So it was a great match. So that's really all you can say. I mean, is it a match that you need to go back and watch? Sure. I mean, if it's convenient, go ahead. Is it something that you need to go out of your way to go watch? Probably not. But at the end of the day, I mean, this is probably the best match that WWE's put on so far. It's only the end of January, but kind of is. Mind you, I still haven't watched Nakamura versus Bobby Roode, which a lot of people said that was match of the year candidate right there. I was watching NXT, but like my freaking network screwed up, and I saw the ending of it. Like, I paused it at the beginning, and I had to run an errand. I came back, and I was trying to revert and trying to get it to play. It went to live, and it showed me that Bobby Roode had already run. So I was kind of pissed, so I didn't watch it. Because it's like, I can't watch a match if I already know who won. Now, it's different if it's an older match, but if it's like something that you're intently wanting to watch, like I was wanting to watch San Antonio, and then it's like, okay, this match should be interesting, and then it's like, oh, Bobby Roode won. It's like, so why the fuck would I want to watch it now? I will watch it, just right now, in my opinion, based on what I've seen, not seeing the Nakamura Bobby Roode match, this is definitely a match of the year candidate right now. Obviously, there could be like 15 other matches that happen this year and are going to eclipse this. Who knows? But this is a great match nonetheless. Now we get to the Royal Rumble. I'm going to start off, I'm just going to say this right now. No Finn Balor, which I did not expect him to show up. He didn't need to show up, and I wasn't expecting him to. I said if he shows up at all, he will show up at the end of the Universal title match. Just to stake his claim to that title. That's the most I expected to happen. Samoa Joe didn't show up. That was probably the most likely person to debut tonight. The biggest name that was expected to debut was Samoa Joe. Did not happen. Kind of pissed off about that. But, you know, you can't be pissed about something that wasn't a guarantee. So, and Seth Rollins did not show up. I wholly expected him to show up, and we'll get into all that. As I said before, Royal Rumble started. They keep bringing up the NXT with Seth Rollins, so that's why I was almost for sure Seth Rollins was going to show up. I figured he was going to attack somebody in the back, a la when Mick Foley did it to get into the Royal Rumble match to eliminate, I believe it was Randy Orton at the time. It was the 04 Rumble, I believe. To set that up. Yeah, it was the 04 Rumble because it set up the Rock and Sock Connection versus Evolution at the time. So, yeah, so a la 2004 Royal Rumble when he attacked Test, I believe is who it was, went out there strictly just to eliminate Randy Orton. So I figured based on all this and the fact that they kept bringing up Seth Rollins and him getting constantly screwed out of the title and all, I expected him to show up in the Rumble. Did not happen. So, but anyway, we'll go ahead and go over all this. Your first two entrants were Big Cass and Jericho. Jericho actually ended up being the Iron Man in this match. He lasted over an hour. The exact time, I'm not sure. I'm sure we'll get all of those statistics later, but he may be the new Iron Man time holder because he was at 59 minutes and he lasted a few more minutes after that. So he may very well be the Iron Man of this he's the Iron Man of the match, I can guarantee you that, but he may very well have now hold the Iron Man title, so we'll see. Followed by Kalisto, who was one of 8 guys who was not announced. And then we got Mojo Rawley, and then I was expecting a 205 guy to show up. I was expecting Cedric Alexander. I called that a while ago. I said if it was going to be anybody from 205 Live, it would have either been Cedric or Jack Gallagher. I didn't think Gallagher would be in this because I didn't think his gimmick matched very well with who was going to be in the Rumble. I was wrong. It was Jack Gallagher. Brought his umbrella. That umbrella had so much to do in this match. Not only was it used to as a weapon and all that other jazz, but kind of made a fool out of Jericho, and he used it as a Mary Poppins kind of SK kind of thing. But anyway, we'll get into that later. And then we had Mark Henry show up, who was the third person who wasn't announced. Followed by, eventually, I assumed this was going to happen, because I called for Mark Henry to show up. And then, of course, right after that, Braun Strowman shows up. Starts eliminating people left and right. Jack Gallagher ends up being the first elimination in this Rumble. And, of course, Jericho also broke the cumulative time like early in the match, so he actually has been in the Rumble longer than Triple H, and he was at 4 hours. So Jericho did at least beat that. I know that for sure. Anyway, he goes ahead and he comes out, and then he has a few eliminations, and then Braun Strowman, and then the Big Show comes out. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't care what anybody says, Big Show's probably in the best shape he's ever been. He looks fantastic. Still a big old dude. He doesn't need to be on Raw anymore, whatever. Doesn't matter. Still in good shape. He looks better than he's looked in the last 10 years, probably. Strowman actually managed to eliminate 4 guys in less than 2 minutes in the names of what? I believe it was Kalisto, Big Cass, Mojo Rawley, and who knows? It's Kalisto, Big Cass, Jack Gallagher, and Mark Henry. I think he also took out, I believe he took out Big Cass. Either way, it doesn't really matter. I was expecting him to have a bunch of eliminations. Then Sami Zayn came out. Obviously, eventually somebody would have to come out to where it was going to, because the ring was full of about 6 guys, and this usually happens. You usually have the ring fill up with a lot of people, and you have a big guy come out. First big guy was Braun Strowman. Sami Zayn comes out, things start to pile up a little more, and just like the one thing at least that WWE listened to everybody on is Ty Dillinger came out at 10. Even WWE couldn't have fucked that one up. They probably could have, but they actually didn't fuck it up for once, surprisingly enough. So Ty Dillinger did come out at 10. It was a nice little surprise that WWE actually did something smart for once. I actually didn't see how he got eliminated because my network fucked up again. Just enough to where I didn't see. I actually thought Jericho got eliminated until I noticed him come back. So, but Dillinger and Sami tried a double suplex on Strowman, got him halfway up. That was close. That would have been nice. Did not happen. Eventually, Corbin comes out. Who was it? It was then it was Big Show. He gets eliminated. Then we get Ty Dillinger, who was 10, who was the 4th of the 8 that was not announced. And then James Ellsworth came out, which was the 5th of the 8. He was the quick elimination. Braun Strowman, he came in. Braun Strowman picked him up, threw him out. It was less than 10 seconds. I knew that comes every year. There's always somebody that lasts next to no time. Figured it would be James Ellsworth. I picked him to be the one for that to happen to, and I picked for him to be the one to come out, and that happens to. Then Dean Ambrose came out, and then things started to kind of pile up. Baron Corbin came out after that. Eventually, everybody that was in the ring did work together, and Corbin is the one that inevitably ended up eliminating Braun Strowman, surprisingly enough. So, which is cool. I will admit that. So he gets big elimination. He took out Braun Strowman. So Corbin can hang that on his hat now, which is probably going to be the biggest thing that's going to work in his favor for a while. So expect him to probably make a mid-title push very, very soon. There was an instance where Big E was giving a spanking to The Miz. It is what it is. Kofi was in. I did find it kind of amusing. Kofi's in the corner, wounded and injured. He's like, yeah, and he's clapping along with him doing it. It was amusing for a minute, but beyond that, we're not going to go through anything else. So let's see. Then we get The Miz and Sheamus. Big E comes out, does the thing. Then we have Handsome Rusev come out. That dress that one was fantastic. Let's just say that. That's all I'm going to say. Cesaro came out. He gave 5 different guys his Cesaro swing. Got him around probably at least 2 or 3 times. Got around attempting to do it to Big E. Couldn't quite get him up. Tried to do it to Baron Corbin. Got him around a couple times and dropped him. He was a dizzy mess. And Xavier Woods came out. Then they all started to work together to kind of get people out. Followed by Bray Wyatt showed up. Apollo Crews was one of the 6 of 8. And then Randy Orton, Dolph Ziggler, and Luke Harper came out. Well, now we're up to 25. We're going to save the rest for the end for while I'm getting through this. But then, like I said, Cesaro got a bunch of swings on 5 different guys. Randy Orton hit a sick RKO to Sami Zayn off the top rope. Sick RKO. Not as cool as Evan Bourne's when he was freaking doing the attempting a shooting star press, and he got nailed with that RKO. That was ridiculously sick. This was close second with it. I can tell you that right now. Sheamus managed to eliminate the entire New Day because Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston were hanging on the outside, and Big E was attempting to pull them back in. Sheamus ended up eliminating the whole New Day, and then, as I predicted, Sheamus attempted to eliminate Cesaro, who they both did get eliminated by, I believe, Dean Ambrose. Could be wrong on that. Don't hold me to that. And probably the biggest thing that happened that doesn't involve any of the big names, Luke Harper turns on the Wyatt family and attacks Bray Wyatt and then attacks Randy Orton. And, eventually at this point, even with Cesaro and Sheamus eliminated and the New Day eliminated, there's still about 10 guys in this ring. Because after Braun Strowman was eliminated and Ty Dillinger and Ellsworth were eliminated, pretty much nobody else got eliminated. Because you still had Jericho. Jericho, Sami Zayn, Dean Ambrose, Baron Corbin, the Miz, Miz, Rusev, Bray Wyatt, Apollo Crews, Randy Orton, Dolph Ziggler, and Luke Harper. That's 12 guys that were in the ring at this juncture. Apollo Crews being 6 of 8 guys that were not scheduled to be in this match. So at this point, I'm sitting pretty well. It's like, okay, Samoa Joe should be coming out. I was expecting if he came out, he was going to be last. I knew Undertaker was not going to be last. I knew Goldberg wasn't going to be last. I knew Lesnar wasn't going to be last. Although I will say this, Brock and Goldberg switched places on me. That's all I can say. Brock Lesnar came out 26. He did what I expected Goldberg to do. Brock Lesnar took out 2 or 3 guys, I believe. I believe it was 2. I expected Goldberg to come out and knock out 4 or 5 guys. That's what I was expecting. And then Lesnar come out and eliminate Goldberg. But, WWE seriously completely pulled a massive swerve on us. Like I said, Lesnar came out first. Enzo was the 7th of 8th. So now we have 1 left. And this is at 27 that Enzo came out. You still have Goldberg and Undertaker at this point. So that means you have 1 guy left that's going to be a surprise. And the last person that comes out in the final 3 is usually a big deal. Usually is. So that's why at this point I was still like, good, we can get Samoa Joe. I was like, there's like 50 different possibilities. Like maybe Finn Balor will come back. Maybe Samoa Joe will make his debut. Hell, maybe even Shinsuke Nakamura could have been the guy that showed up. Could have been Shelton Benjamin for all we cared. But it was set up so that way it could have been a big debut. Especially after 29 came out. Because then we had Goldberg come out. Decimates the Lesnar again. Spear throws his ass out. Decimates him. Lesnar has been embarrassed by Goldberg 2 times. Minute 23 seconds at at Survivor Series. Probably almost just as long in the Royal Rumble. Comes out there, takes him out within a matter of about 30 seconds. Lesnar was shocked. I figured he'd come back in the ring and attack Goldberg. Didn't happen. Goldberg made him look like a bitch, and Lesnar looked like a bitch. And that was the end of it. Go figure. And then we had The Undertaker come out. His music hits, smoke and mirrors and shit. Arena goes dark. Lights up. Undertaker's already in the ring. Oh, that made me giddy as a little schoolgirl. Goldberg turns around. They start fighting and shit. You know, and everybody starts getting up, and then we got people going all over the place. Goldberg gets another elimination. Undertaker gets another elimination. I think Goldberg actually got one after that. I think he got one. Then Undertaker, then Goldberg got a second elimination. And then The Undertaker eliminated Goldberg. It was fantastic. So going along with the original idea that Goldberg, or that Lesnar, or not Lesnar, that Undertaker was going to eventually win the Royal Rumble. So I believe at this point, once Undertaker had been the last one left, I believe we had Undertaker after he eliminated Goldberg. I believe we had what? Undertaker, Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, Jericho, Sami Zayn. I believe is how many we had left. I think, maybe Baron Corbin. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't keep exact track of who got eliminated and when. Now to number 30. 30 is what probably killed this Rumble match. This Rumble was okay. It wasn't like amazingly fantastic. I mean, a lot of it is expected, especially for me at least, because I've been doing so much research on the Rumble lately, and I was doing a lot of blogs on it. So a lot of this stuff was predictable, and I called a lot of the entrants coming in at certain times based on the situations. Like I was patiently waiting for Goldberg to show up once we got around to 9 people being in the ring. It's like, Goldberg's coming. Goldberg's coming. Of course, like I said, him and Lesnar switched places on me, so I was almost right with that. I knew Undertaker was not. I knew for a fact Lesnar, Goldberg, and Undertaker were going to come out within the last 5. None of them were going to come out last. I knew they weren't. None of them were. And then we're sitting here. We're waiting for number 30. Of course, they have it pinned right on the ring in the long shot. And you can see the entrance in the shot in the far distance. because they're setting up. That setup is usually for the big surprise. Like, who is it going to be? Because usually you can hear it when they're focused on the ring. You'll hear the theme come on. And like, oh, that's Dolph Ziggler. Oh, that's Randy Orton. Randy Orton used his original music too. I don't think nobody pointed this out. He used his normal music. He did not use his perverted version of his theme that reverts into the Wyatt family theme. He used his original theme, which I don't think anybody notices that. It's little things like that people don't get, but whatever. But that's getting off track. So you have the long shot. And that's setting up like Samoa Joe. I'm sitting there like, it's got to be Samoa Joe. It's not Samoa Joe. It's not Finn Balor. It's not even Shelton Benjamin. Hell, it's not even Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, again. Kane, Stone Cold Steve Austin. It wasn't anybody. It was fucking Roman fucking Reigns. Is number 30. You explain to me why in the blue hell Roman Reigns had to be in the Universal title match and then almost win the Royal Rumble. Keyword, almost. And thank God he didn't win, but goddamn he got close. Kind of jumped the gun there, but fuck it. That's how much it pissed me off. Number 30 comes out. He eliminates Sami Zayn. Pissed people off. Eliminated Jericho. Pissed. Well, that was expected based on the circumstances. But he eliminates Sami Zayn. Pissed everybody off. Then he eliminates Bray Wyatt. Yeah, pissed. Or he eliminates The Undertaker. That probably pissed off everybody more than anything. And he had his like, yeah, this is my yard, Undertaker. Get the fuck out of my yard. Yeah. Pissed. Oh my God, this crowd was so hot after that happened. He got booed to shit when he eliminated The Undertaker. They were so pissed. I was pissed. After he eliminated The Undertaker, I think it was him. It was Reigns, Orton. It was Reigns, Orton, Wyatt, and Jericho, I believe. They were eventually the final four. He eliminates Jericho. Whatever. Then we're down to Wyatt, Orton, and Reigns. And I'm sitting there thinking, it's like, usually in these circumstances, it's a 2-on-1 advantage or disadvantage for the face, which in this case, technically Wyatt and Orton are technically heels. Reigns is technically supposed to be a face. Usually that sets up for the babyface to inevitably win. So I'm sitting there, I'm so pissed. I'm sitting in my chair like, no, fuck you, fuck this Rumble's shit. This made the Rumble a hell of a lot worse than it was. And then, he's attempting to hit him with the Sister Abigail that turns into an RKO. He pushes Orton off of him. Superman punch to Bray Wyatt. Superman punch to Orton. I was like, fuck this. This is the end. He throws fucking Wyatt out. I'm expecting, and then thankfully Orton hit him with an RKO when he was attempting to go for a spear, and then Reigns jumped back up. Normally doesn't happen, but it's set up for him to get eliminated. But I was sitting there, and I think my heart skipped a beat because I was sitting there like, oh fuck, and I was assuming he was going to try to eliminate him, and then Reigns was going to do the traditional spin around. Oh no, you go. I was sitting there like, oh fuck, no. I can tell you right now, if Reigns won that match, all hell would have broke loose. Because that crowd was so pissed off when Reigns came out. When his music hit, oh, the boos rang out into the night loudly. Whew, that was just horrible. Anyway, but that didn't happen. Orton wins the 2017 Royal Rumble. Apparently that was kind of thrown out there by a couple sources. Orton winning, you know what? If it's not Roman Reigns, I don't give a fuck. Could Bray Wyatt use that match win? Probably. I mean, it would have been nicer if it was Bray Wyatt. Hell, it would have been nicer. Hell, after Reigns showed up, anyone else could have won it. Anybody else. Goldberg. If Goldberg was still in the match, I was like, let fucking Goldberg win it. Anybody fucking Reigns. Anybody else. A broom could have won, and I would have been happier. But thankfully, Reigns did not win. Orton ends up winning the match. He will go on to face the WWE Champion at WrestleMania, which right now is looking to be John Cena, and we may be getting a 2000 main event at WrestleMania of John Cena versus Randy Orton. Either way, I'm sure we'll figure out what's going to go down coming the next two nights. I will say this, I am surprised that SmackDown guy won the match. I am surprised that Roman Reigns was the 30th. I'm surprised Samoa Joe didn't show up. And yeah, overall, if the Cena Styles match was not as good as it was, this Rumble probably wouldn't have been a lot worse off. The Rumble itself was okay. This was definitely a middle of the pack Rumble. It was probably not in the top 10. Well, okay. All right, let me rephrase it. It was probably like ranked 8. It was probably ranked somewhere between 9, probably a 9th or 10th best Rumble. Reigns coming out last dropped it at least 16. So it went from a potential top 10 to a guaranteed middle of the pack Rumble. It's not one of the worst because there's a lot of good things that happen in this. You know, Sami Zayn had a fantastic showing in this match. Jericho went on to be an Iron Man in this match, which is awesome for him. Braun Strowman got eliminated by Baron Corbin, which was fantastic. He wasn't overly dominant, but he definitely was dominant to a point. Goldberg fucked over Lesnar again, which at this point is pretty funny as hell. So a lot of good things happened in this match. One bad thing fucked it, really bad. So they really jumped the shark on not having the 30th entry be Joe or Balor or anyone else. So if it was a Joe, I guarantee this would have stayed in the top 10. This probably would have been 9th or 10th in my book. But with it being Reigns and Reigns almost winning, it gets middle of the pack, especially when you have Randy Orton win it. Now, I understand, as Randy Orton, he's somewhat credible, but you've got to realize Randy Orton has a hell of a lot of years behind him than he has left. Did he really need to win the Rumble? No. Is it better that it's him and not another part-timer? Yeah, because he's active every week. So there is that at least. Although I feel like the rub could have gone to somebody else, but that's completely different. We're not even going to go into that shit because John Cena is your champion. And Kevin Owens is still the champ, so that's a positive in my book. Obviously, Charlotte's still your champion. Neville's your new cruiserweight champion. You have new Raw Tag Team champions in in the club, and that's about it. So, hope you guys enjoyed the review, guys. What did you think of the Rumble? Do you think it was better than what I felt it was? How do you feel about Roman Reigns coming out 30? How do you feel about him almost winning it? So he's been second to last twice in 3 Rumbles, with also winning 1. And so in the 4 Rumbles that Roman Reigns has appeared in, he ended up second to last. He ended up winning. He ended up being one of the last 4 eliminated, or last 6, I believe, and then going to the final 2 this time. Are they trying to get Roman Reigns over? Well, you be the judge of that. So, like I said, what did you guys think? Tell me down in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel. All that fun bullshit. We'll be back tomorrow with a Raw review, which hopefully at that point I would imagine Finn Balor is going to show up. Is Samoa Joe going to debut anytime soon, or is this going to be something that happens at WrestleMania? We don't know yet. But something will happen, hopefully soon. And we will see you on Monday for our Raw recap, and then we'll have our SmackDown recap the day after. So until then, I'll talk to you guys later, and make sure you enjoy the night. And I'm sorry Roman Reigns showed up. I really am. Trust me. I was hoping he wouldn't. And just between you and me, that entire time that match was hanging out with Owens and Roman Reigns, I don't know. I half expected for that cage to fall. Sorry. I half expected that cage to fall and fucking land on Roman Reigns. But obviously I wouldn't wish death upon somebody, but it's in the back of my mind. That's how I felt. I felt like the cage was going to fall on my head at any given time after Roman Reigns came out. So, we'll see you guys tomorrow.